Hello and welcome to my podcast. My name is Dylan Henniger and I am in a group with Diego Martinez and Logan L. Palmer. And today we will be talking about civil rights leader Cesar Chavez. Cesar Chavez was a farm worker and an activist who was an American labor leader. He later co-founded the National Farm Workers Association for helping migrant and workers to improve their wages and working conditions.
Chavez was born on March 31st, 1927 in Yuma, Arizona, and in a boathouse built by his grandfather. He had a good childhood until the Great Depression hit. During the Depression, his family lost their farm and store. They moved to California and found work as migrant farm workers. They moved around so often that Cesar attended 35 schools by the time he was in 8th grade. He dropped out of school in 8th grade and worked in the fields until he was 19 years old and joined the Navy.
The most important thing he accomplished was ending the use of harmful pesticides that harm the environment, humans, and wildlife. He got the public's attention and support by giving speeches to inform the public about the harmful use of pesticides. He staged a 25-day public fasting campaign to bring awareness and hazards of pesticides. He asked the public to support the boycott of grapes in order to put the pressure of large growers to stop use of pesticides. It became the largest boycott of grapes in the history of the U.S. He organized strikes by farm workers.
He fought in World War II for the U.S. Navy and joined a community service organization to speak out about workers' injustices at the workplace. He wanted farm workers like him to work in safer conditions and higher wages. So he founded the National Farm Workers Association. He was also in environmentalists that brought the Peregrine falcon back from the brink of extinction.
He's an important civil rights leader in history because he fought for farmers' injustices and took down companies putting harmful pesticides in vegetables and fruit. He stopped birth defects due to pesticides and saved lives. Nobody else was really like him when it comes to farmers' injustices.
He even said once, "These pesticides are a cause of birth defects, miscarriages, and cancer in workers."
His quest to end the use of dangerous pesticides also saved other animals in the food chain, like our large birds of prey. Our Peregrine falcon was near extinction because of the harmful effects of DDT. When the use of DDT was banned, the Peregrine falcon came back from the near extinction.
One of his most famous quotes is, "We cannot seek achievement for ourselves and forget about progress and prosperity for our community. Our ambitions must be broad enough to include the aspirations and needs for others, for their sake and for our own."
This quote is important because he was saying that you can't be greedy and always think about yourself. You can't see the accomplishments of your peers just because you're the leader. Basically saying that you don't take all the credit.
Another quote from Cesar is, "Preservation of one's own culture does not require contempt or disrespect for others' cultures."
This quote is also important because he is saying it's okay to have a certain culture and a certain opinion, but there is no reason to disrespect another's culture.
The last quote from Cesar that we find important is, quote unquote, "When poor people get involved in long conflicts such as strike or a civil rights drive and the pressure increase between each day, there is a deep need of spiritual advice. Without it, we see families crumble, leadership weaken, and hard workers grow tired."
The quote is important because poor people do not have money or things to encourage them to keep fighting, like food or money to buy things like tents or chairs. Spiritual advice is all they have, and that's what keeps them going.
Cesar Chavez was influenced by Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi. He followed their ideas of nonviolent protests in his fight for farm workers' rights.
The last thing that we added in the President Obama used in Cesar Chavez, quote, "Si se puede," in a campaign speeches, but changed it in English to "Yes, we can." Obama used this as his motto to unite people to follow his cause, just as Cesar Chavez did.
And that's all we have to say about Cesar Chavez. Thank you for listening.